Okay, we should be live sometime soon. Sorry for the noise. I don't have proper noise suppression on Linux. Just checking my stream. Give me a sec. Right, so the sound seemed to be okay. Just publish this stream. Just do it on another. Just do it here. YouTube Studio. I need the link to the stream. That's the only way of getting, well, not the only way, sorry, there's never only way. Right, I can get it just from here. I'll go Twitter, post and run. Don't use Twitter, don't like it. And yeah, this link would not work because I'm not logged in. I need it in another browser. Yeah, I can now write posts with AI. It's handy, except that anything on LinkedIn doesn't really work well. Don't know why and I have to move to 4G on my phone. Just so it doesn't take it doesn't take much bandwidth. So hopefully someone joins in. Let's see. Yeah, I can probably close that. I can see the chat just in case. So I have this new dashboard, depending if you're American or English. Right, and this is a Flask application. Took me a couple of days, but mainly because there's some minor issues, like technical issues, nothing to do with the logic, with the code. The code is pretty straightforward, pretty simple. We had mainly ChatGPT writing this for us, writing the script, and it's working fine. Originally we had a generate button, probably have to bring it back, a regenerate button. But it's not still available from the website. So if you go, we're essentially replacing the original LabVIEW code that we had over there, and we're having trouble. I think it's with Cloudflare or something, or with the SSL, actually getting the images. This is how the dashboard should look like if everything works correctly. It shouldn't give any errors. That one is fine. on load, it should display a waveform. So I'll fix that later. And when you select a different waveform, it will actually display it to you. You had the raw time series of, in this case, Gaussian noise, and its frequency domain, the x-axis frequency being a logarithmic scale. That's why you have this weird, well, not weird, just what logarithmic scale is: 1, 10, 100, and 1000, but it's cut off at 500. This one doesn't actually do anything at the moment. The idea was later to potentially have different tabs that you can look at different things. A periodic waveform works fine, except you can barely see the noise. But then you don't see the sinusoid on the waveform. You only see it in the frequency domain, which is kind of fine. And inverse F, it's the one I'm particularly most interested in. Yeah, regenerate button could be handy because it would keep generating more and more of this waveform, random noise. And inverse F is of particular interest because it's the way it looks, and its frequency response looks a lot like baseline EEG, electroencephalograms. Oh, yeah, EEG. I can't pronounce properly. Anyway, and we're obviously having trouble running it in a public domain. So yeah, I spent most of the day today trying to fix it, so I might not spend any more time on that. Hopefully the solution just comes sometime this week, and hopefully you will be able to play with it yourself as well. This it's not very useful at the moment. We'll add more functionality and description for what each noise means and the like. We have these prompts, which we actually didn't get to go through the whole lot. Kind of stopped at some stage because we started facing issues. Yeah, you can see them here. So this is all the prompts from today trying to resolve. Yeah, restarting Apache server like 100 times, trying to change configuration and stuff. The main problem, if we're already talking about it, is the fact that the requests going through Cloudflare. And I think this is where it gets all hairy. So you can see here, this is me monitoring the Flask application here, and when I make a local request, you can see this inverse F noise generated. It's a post request. It's being called successfully. However, when I do it from the website, essentially nothing comes through and I get an error. So the website is essentially not communicating with my thing, and that's because that request is going to a Cloudflare domain, and not communicating with my server. So that's unfortunate. What was the last? Yes, normally I find with ChatGPT need to give it some context to begin with, so I'm just placing the files that I have, essentially in this folder, inverse f noise folder. Yeah, this is what generating the pink noise and everything. Then what do we do then? This is the bot trying to explain what's what. We also put in this so we're trying to use a production server. This is the settings for it. This is where Flask application is located. And now, and this is where we get an error. So locally it's working okay on that port. The other thing is that it's not secure. Maybe if I'm able to load this securely, maybe it will work in the public domain as well. Because yes, the website is super secure. Yeah, and I already checked all these things like many times. So the only thing we can do is try bot or something. Because there's no way I'll start reading documentation and it's something custom documentation. So we can go through those again. It's HTML. Let's try bot quickly, see if it does anything useful. We have the application, this is the actual, so we're using Flask, NumPy, Pandas, Plotly. What safety guidelines? I didn't ask for safety guidelines. What? I have added a comment to the submission form function that explains why the user is not allowed to generate inverse F noise. What? What did it? Yeah, bot is a bit hallucinating stuff. The user is allowed to generate the function is empty, but you can put the logic to determine if the user is allowed. What? Doesn't make any sense. Anyway, just give it more context. So just give it the HTML file so far. Let's see if it starts making. Yes, that's okay. I don't know why it rewrote the code. I didn't ask for it. That's fine. And this is what we need for our production. To put the Flask web application into production, we need this. So again, someone join in. I'll just explain. Working on this synthetic noise generated dashboard using Flask, NumPy, Pandas, Plotly, SciPy. I actually don't think we're using SciPy. No, this one suggests it is, otherwise it would be grayed out. So the idea is that you can choose a different type of noise, and it will show you its time series, time domain, and frequency domain in a logarithmic scale. So you can see what the difference is between uniform white noise, Gaussian white, a periodic. So this one just essentially white noise with 100 hertz embedded in it. It's actually meant to be 10 hertz. There's something wrong. There's a bug. So you can't really see the sinusoid in the noise, but you can clearly see it in the frequency domain. And inverse F, which is the most interest for me because it looks a lot like baseline EEG brainwaves. So this one is quite unique. Sorry. So it's pretty simple. It's pink, essentially pink noise. We'll have a description down the bottom of what each one is. So this is running locally. I'm still trying to make it available on the public domain. It meant to replace this bit here, which we used to have working with some LabVIEW MATLAB functions. And now, well, LabVIEW backend, I don't have it anymore because I moved to Linux, and LabVIEW is not friends with Linux at all, so I couldn't start it going again. So moving everything into Python using Flask, but getting this error, and this is mainly probably to do with the fact that I'm behind a proxy. The Flask application is using a different port. Is using just an output, and also I'm having trouble adding the SSL for the Flask application itself. So one of these issues preventing me from publishing this meant to look like that. And what were we doing before? We're still trying to troubleshoot, this time with BAD. So we placed some of the code, the index HTML, the Python script. We also placed the WSJGI settings. This is meant to be a production application, and now we can say we had this prompt. Oh, come on. So it's working well on a local server. I don't know, but yes. Okay. But then, okay, obviously I need to give it my configuration, Apache configuration. There's nothing too sensitive in there, I would say. Probably bot will freak out anyway, because because it tends to freak out fairly easily. I don't know, it's actually giving me something. Now all the links should be okay. And now I want to say that so local, well, essentially local server. Where is it? Dashboard. Yeah, we can run it on local. No, how do you spell it? Well, this is the local server. Don't know how to spell properly. So this one's working well. However, is giving the following error, and it's where did we have it? Essentially these two. Generate just the two again. Oop. No. Yeah, I don't think there's much useful details in there. Just pop that in. I think it'd probably say, oh, I'm just a tiny LLM. I can't help you with that. Okay, let's read this aloud.
The error message you are getting indicates that the URL link to bionachaos.com does not exist. This could be because the WSGI script invsevnoise WSGI is not configured to handle this URL. To fix this, you need to edit the Apache virtual host configuration file and add the following line to the WSGI script alias directive, inverse fnoise generate. This will tell Apache to map the URL inverse fnoise generate to the WSGI script invsevnoise WSGI. Once you have made this change, you need to restart Apache for the changes to take effect. If you are still getting the error after restarting Apache, then you may need to check the permissions on the directory containing the WSGI script. The directory must be readable and executable by the user that Apache is running as. I hope this helps. Let me know if you have any other questions.
I'm pretty sure I already have it. Yeah, I do. Didn't I just give it to you? But just pop this again. Just read the whole thing. Tell me if it's correct.
I see that you have edited the Apache virtual host configuration file to add the following line to the WSGI script alias directive, inverse fnoise generate. This is correct. This will tell Apache to map the URL inverse fnoise generate to the WSGI script invsevnoise WSGI. If you are still getting the error after restarting Apache, then it is possible that there is a problem with the WSGI script itself. You can try debugging the script to see if you can find the problem. Here are some things you can check. Make sure that the WSGI script is executable. Make sure that the WSGI script imports the Flask application correctly. Make sure that the Flask application is configured correctly. If you are still having trouble, you can post the WSGI script on a forum or ask for help.
Yeah, well, that's what you are here for. So how about you help me?
I see that you have updated the WSGI script to import the Flask application correctly. This is good. However, you still need to make sure that the Flask application is configured correctly. This means that you need to set the secret _ key environment variable to a secure value. You can also configure other settings, such as the database connection string, in the Flask application's configuration file. Once you have configured the Flask application correctly, you can restart Apache and try again. If you are still having trouble, you can post the Flask application's configuration file on a forum or ask for
It keeps delegating. I didn't ask for that. There's the reason why I asking you, but you better not delegate.
I see that you have updated the Flask application to generate inverse F noise and return the charts in JSON format. This is great. Now, you can test the Flask application by sending a post request to the inverse F noise generate endpoint with the noise type as the only parameter. For example, the following curl command will generate inverse F noise and return the charts in JSON format. Curl x post age content type. Application.
Okay, let's try this. I'm pretty sure it will. Yep, doesn't work. Can pop the response in here.
JSON D noise type inverse F link to bionachaos.com. The response should be a JSON object with two keys, charttime HTML and chartfreak.dml. These keys contain the HTML code for the time domain and frequency domain charts, respectively. You can then use the HTML code to display the charts in a web browser. I see that you are getting a 404 error when you try to send a post request to the inverse F noise generate endpoint. This is because the URL is not yet live. To make the URL live, you need to deploy the Flask application to a web server. You can do this using a variety of methods, such as using a cloud-based hosting service, such as Amazon Web Services, AWS, or Google Cloud Platform, GCP. Using a local web server, such as Apache or Nynx. Once the Flask application is deployed, you should be able to send a post request to the inverse F noise, generate endpoint and get a JSON response with the charts in JSON format. I hope this helps. Let me know if you have any other questions.
Okay, how do I deploy the Flask application using Apache? Pretty sure I already did that, but probably incorrectly. What? It's a simple question, but how do I deploy? On Ubuntu. Come on, bud. You can do it. Right.
To deploy the Flask application using Apache on Ubuntu, you can follow these steps. 1. Install Apache in mod_WSGI. Sudo apt install Apache 2.
So do I have to have a virtual environment? Node should be able to run things without it. Yeah, I did that. I would like not to use a virtual environment unless I have to. And also, I already modified the configuration file. one telling me to add the Nava configuration file.
You can deploy the Flask application without using a
And I already changed. I already modified my website Apache configuration file to the following. Pop it in there. Let's see what it says. We might just move to the next application. Okay, why not? Is it too much information for you, something? Okay, we can remove some stuff. This is irrelevant. I should start generating. Some sort of weird thing where this response is not from the LLM, obviously. It's some sort of algorithm that's sitting on top of it, and it doesn't like something in there. It's probably like a space or whatever, carriage return or something that it doesn't like. Because I think at some stage it will start generating, like now. Just remove the...
I see that you have modified your Apache configuration file to include the following WSGI script alias directive. WSGI script alias, inverse F noise. This directive tells Apache to map the URL inverse F noise to the WSGI script inverse F noise, WSGI. This script is responsible for running your Flask application. Once you have made this change, you need to restart Apache for the changes to take effect. If you are still getting a 404 error, then you may need to check the permissions on the directory containing the WSGI script. The directory must be readable and executable by the user that Apache is running as. You can also try restarting Apache in debug mode. This will help you to troubleshoot any problems that you may be having. To restart Apache in debug mode, you can use the following command: sudo systemctl restart apache 2d. Once Apache is restarted in debug mode, you can access the Apache error log to see more information about the error that you are getting. The Apache error log is located at. I hope this helps. Let me know if you have any other questions.
So we do have the error log. No, it's sold to the other website. Not sure why. There's some warning for the SSL certificate on Bionic Cloud. We'll sort it later, but I can't see anything for... Wait, let me... It's some sort of crawler, isn't it? Looks like a crawler to me. that's trying to access something, getting errors. Don't think it's me. Which, what is it trying to access? Don't get it. Can pop this back into
The log entries you provided appear to be access log entries from a web server. Let's break down some key points from these log entries. IP addresses. The log entries include IP addresses that correspond to the clients or users making requests to your web server. Each log entry starts with the client's IP address. HTTP methods. The log entries include HTTP methods used by clients. Common HTTP methods include GET, used to retrieve resources, POST, used to submit data to the server, and others. For example, get/http/1.1 indicates a GET request for the root URL, /. HTTP status codes. The log entries also include HTTP status codes. Status codes provide information about the result of the request. For instance, 200 indicates a successful request, while 404 indicates that the requested resource was not found. User agents. Some log entries contain user agent information. The user agent string often identifies the client's web browser or user agent. It can provide insights into the type of client making the request. For example, Mozilla/5.0, Windows NT 6.1, WoW 64, Apple WebKit /537.36, KHTML, like Gecko, Chrome /63.0.3239.132 Safari /537.36 Chihu 360C suggests that a client using the Chrome browser made a request. Now, let's interpret a few log entries. 12/sep/2023:15:34:25 get/WordPress http/1.1 404 513 -- This entry indicates that a client made a GET request to /WordPress, but the server responded with a 404 not found status code, indicating that the /WordPress resource was not found. 12/sep/2023:16:18:22 get/http/1.1 210,926 - hello world. This entry shows a successful GET request to the root URL / with a 200 OK status code. The user agent string suggests that the request was made by a client with the user agent hello world. 12/sep/2023:16:35:18 get/favicon.ico http/1.1 404 453 - Mozilla/5.0 Windows NT 6.1 WoW 64 Apple WebKit /537.36 KHTML like Gecko Chrome /63.0.3239.132 Safari /537.36 Chihu 360C. This entry represents a request for a favicon, favicon.ico, but the server responded with a 404 not found status code. 12/sep/2023:16:35:20 get/robots.txt http/1.1 404 453 - Mozilla/5.
Anyway, I don't have robots. I don't know who is hello world. Someone's trying to crawl WordPress. Good luck to them. What else is going on? Yeah, I do need the robots text. Yeah, and I need to find my icon. That's the one that will appear in the tab of the browser. But there's nothing that stands out that potentially will help us troubleshoot the problem I'm having. Let's go back to Bing quickly. Yeah, Bing seemed to struggle with context because I provided the files, but pretty sure it did not read them to begin with. Pretty sure it just ignored them, didn't know what to do with them. Because then it kept asking questions that obviously were answered in the text that I previously provided. So not sure what's that all about. It keeps suggesting to restart Apache, which, well, I haven't made any changes, so I don't expect that to work. Yeah, we try to check all the permissions again, but I think they are okay. Maybe. So how about this one? Oops. Forgetting. You can copy paste in the terminal. How about this one?
I see that the permissions on the WSGI script are correct. The file is readable and executable by the user that Apache is running as. You can also try restarting Apache in debug mode. This will help you to troubleshoot any problems that you may be having. To restart,
Yeah, we actually have not tried this before. Need a password, of course. Let's see. It says invalid option. So it's already like logging all errors and stuff.
I see that you are getting an error when you try to restart Apache in debug mode. The error message is systemctl, invalid option, D. The D option is not a valid option for the systemctl command. The correct option to restart Apache in debug mode is D to restart Apache in debug mode. You can use the following command: sudo systemctl restart Apache 2D once Apache is restarted in debug mode.
I'm pretty sure I'm getting this log anyway, and no, it's hallucinating. The capital D is also not right. Why there's no button for copying script? Okay, it's totally off the charts. Okay, all sorts of IPs trying to ping this side, which is normal. Last week I had a bit of a DDoS attack. Which I don't think Windows handled very well. Okay, we're still not going anywhere with this. But would not help. ChatGPT had a good go. Yeah, if anyone ever deployed Flask on Apache Ubuntu, please do let me know. I just take a break or finish this stream, maybe start another one later, because we also need to do all these other apps, get them running again, like wavelet image compression, ECG feature extraction. So essentially we'll be popping this description, maybe even the script from the videos. They're not scripted, I mean the speech to text, the transcript from the video, pop it all into one of the LLMs to generate Python to replace this thing that doesn't work. So I'll see you in a bit. Bye.